Salutations, my name is Summer and this is Sterling Reads, and happy April Fool's Day. I dislike this day, but whatever. To each their own. I guess in the past I've known people to do some pretty mean, stressful pranks on people, and I just, no thanks. Anyway, there's quite a bit I want to talk to you about today. First off, if you have not seen Greg's library over at Another Bibliophile Reads, I will link him down below. Check it out. It is gorgeous. Anyway, yeah, I'm very, very jealous. And I'm in a different area and I'm fighting light. It's a very cloudy day, so I always try. I don't have one of those nice lights. I just have natural light, so, or a lamp. Which I don't have in this room, so we're just gonna work with what we got. Anyway, so I finished some things in March, and I was going to do this like joke, like what does Zola, Hunger Games, and The Terror have in common? I was gonna say murder, because oh my goodness, those are three of the things that I read, and I did read The Great Divorce too. So I don't know what to discuss first. Let's talk about The Hunger Games. I know quite a few people in my community probably has not read them, and maybe even is a bit of a book snob about The Hunger Games, but I think it's great. It has me thinking. I love books that make me think about things, and this one actually has to be my favorite in the whole series. This is the newest release. It is called Sunrise on the Reaping, and it's about Hamish, and it's a prequel. So it's that songbirds and snakes or whatever, and then this one, Hamish. And maybe it's because Woody Harrelson plays the character in the show, but I already had a soft spot for Hamish. We know that he's struggling, but we don't know what exactly happened. And this is his story about when the reaping happened on his birthday and how he was chosen, which was an interesting spin on that. And of course, we get to know his loved ones and his experience of having to go through the Hunger Games. Now, some of you might not know, but the Hunger Games is not a choice. And I mean, everything in life is a choice. But if you do not choose to go, then your whole family could be killed. I mean, this is a very serious thing. And you could go to the Hunger Games and not kill anybody because of what they call mutts, which are crazy things. Like sometimes it'll be an animal, but they're programmed. They're like half robotic. And so, like, have you heard of the like bullets that actually have been censored to find a person? That's kind of like the mutts can be censored to find just a person, which is not fair, because you, like, say you have a swarm of ladybugs that can suck out all your blood, and it's just directed towards you. Well, how is that fair? That means but everything's corrupt, so it doesn't even matter. Anyway, go off on a tangent. I really like this. Of course, there's a lot of murder. There's a lot of greed, which is in my other two of the other books that I read. So that was like the theme of March. It felt like struggle, trying to survive. That was a theme that I had to go through in March. But I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed getting to know Hamish more, which he is so compassionate and loving and caring, and yeah, it was really nice getting to know him more. So the next one I have in my pile, so I might as well talk about it. The past 2 days I have spent with The Terror by Dan Simmons, And so I read Hyperion years ago, and I really enjoyed it while I read it. But then as the years have gone by, it's like lost its appeal. Like I don't really care anymore about it. So, this is absolutely fantastic. It made me thinking about what a writer has, like how a writer does what they do. And how do you take a shipwrecked because it is trapped inside the ice, and the pressure from the ice has destroyed your ship, and you're trapped, and there's nobody going to come rescue you, and you have to hunt seal or whatever you can hunt, and scurvy. Oh my gosh. Anyway, it's amazing. So there are letters from the people who are on the Terror that do not survive, so you get to hear some of their stories, and you get to hear about, like, some of them will go back in time, so you get to know a little bit about their history and their families or people that they loved or their experiences. This book was absolutely fantastic. It's brutal. Oh my gosh, if you have triggers for anything, it may be hard for you to read, but historical fiction, it's all about survival. There's murder, there's greed. Oh my gosh, there's this one character, Hickey, that I just wanted something horrible to happen to him. He was just conniving and manipulative, and he was just the worst of the worst characters. And then you have characters that you just love, you love things about, and then you lose them. And sometimes you lose them so quickly, it's like, wait, don't, like, you just killed this character. I'm not ready. And then there's other times where it's like, okay, you kind of see it coming. There was a setup at one point, and I knew it was a setup. Like, how do you not know? But you have to think. Number one, they can't think clearly. They're starving, and they're frozen. So you wouldn't think clearly, but man, I was like, it's a setup. Please don't go. There is a female, and okay, it kind of reminded me of Pride and Prejudice. So if you go to like page 10 or 11, Crozier is talking about Silence. He doesn't like her, and he says something about, like, she's not attractive. She's like what they call Eskimo. She's very young. They don't know if she's 15 to 20. They also say she's a virgin. The doctor says she's a virgin, which irritates me because, number one, he shouldn't be inspecting her to find that out. Like, that is none of his business. So that really upset me because she's the only female with all these men, and I don't know. It just upset me. So page 700 and some, which is a spoiler, sorry, he has a relationship with her. And that doesn't ruin the book for me, but it was something I really disliked about the book. I just felt like, what is going on here? I didn't quite understand it, and I thought it was a bit ridiculous. And then something else happens that I thought was ridiculous. So, and I didn't like how that, I don't know, it became like almost magical realism, and I did not like that. So when you get to like the very last 100 pages, I wasn't a fan of it. But man, those 600 pages before you get to all that foo-foo type stuff, it was so fantastic. So it got 5 stars from me, even though I didn't like where that went, because I just felt like it wasn't needed. It's like Pride and Prejudice. I absolutely love it. It's a favorite book, but we don't need to know. You don't have to ship everybody together. There doesn't need to be a relationship. There doesn't need to be a romantic relationship. Especially in that situation. But fantastic. Loved it. It was brutal. Like, brutal is the best word to describe that book. So I finished the first Zola. I think it's The Fortune of the Roulons or something. The second book is something like Son of Excellence, Eugene Rougon. Anyway, Elsa just went to the door, so hopefully she doesn't start barking. Anyway, Zola. So I just finished the first book, read it with Shawn from Shawn D. Standfast. I'll link him down below, and Arianne. I don't think Arianne has a channel. If you do, please let me know, because I will link her channel down below too. Anyway, I thought this was wonderful. The writing. Zola makes you feel things. It starts out with two characters, young, very young, early teens. One is like Minette and then Silver. And it's interesting because you start off with them and they're like meeting up in their travel. And then you get like pushed into the rest of the family. And so you learn all this stuff. You go back to the big, like not the beginning, but pretty much the beginning. And you get to know the family and you get to know all those people and everything about those people and how greedy and horrible and selfish they are. And then you finally come back to our two main characters who are caring and loving and love each other and everything that they are together. And then something horrible happens. And then, and you're going through a lot of political stuff too, which I do not understand all the political stuff. I do have a book called Revolutionary Spring. I cannot remember who the author is. And it's in France from 1848 to 1849. And I plan to read that at some point, hopefully with Shawn and Arianne. So I think that will help me out with what's going on here. I don't understand it. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Because like even when you talk about the Americas, when you talk about Republicans and Democrats, that all changed from how it was when like Lincoln was president. So I don't know exactly what's going on here with everything. I do somewhat, but not totally. Anyway, there is a murder. You know, we're talking about murder. There is a murder that happens that felt, I mean, you were totally there. It was very immersive. His writing, it can make you be there. It hurt. I just gotta tell you. And I wasn't the only one. I mean, Arianne and Shawn, I think, felt this way too. That it hurt what happened to a character. And the whole time I kept, and it felt like it went on forever because like the whole time I'm like, please, like make something happen to stop this, make something happen to stop this. And it didn't, but that's real life, you know? Oh my goodness, I started to feel like I was gonna tear up. It is emotional. Anyway, that happens close to the end. And then we go back to the family. So Eugene, the second book, Eugene is the first son of Pierre, I believe, if I have it right. There's a lot of people in the family. So I will be going into that. I'm thinking at the end of April. It is April now. I keep wanting to say next month. So the last thing that I read, and I have such mixed feelings about this, and it's such a tiny book, but it's The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis. So this book is kind of like, okay, this is a spoiler, I guess. So sorry. But it's a dream that our main character's having, but not really. But maybe it is. I don't know. It was so confusing. But he's on a bus, and the bus takes you to like a way station that it seems like it's out in the middle of nowhere, and there's mountains, and you have to go over these mountains to get to heaven, or you can go back to Earth, get on the bus and go back to Earth, because you're past, so you'd be like a ghost. And then there's hell. And how it was all explained, I'm going to have to read it again, but I do not want to read it again right now. Because it had, I don't know, I've just lost a lot of loved ones. And I've had people who I believe that they feel like they should be in hell. And in this book, it seemed like if you believed it, then that's where you were. Not that you couldn't move. You could move and go back to earth, or you could go work your way to heaven. And the way to heaven in this book is difficult. Like, you have to go to the mountains and your feet are gonna hurt, and it's like, oh, it's work to get there, which is interesting. But yeah, so that's what this book was about. And I actually have my bookmark in a place that really upset me. There's a guy who is, you could tell he was like well-to-do, and he cared about what people thought, and if you have money then you're important, if you're famous and you're important. And I did like that he said, he was asking about that, and he said, do you mean there are no famous men? And he says, the whatever guide or whatever, it says, they are all famous, they are all known, remembered, recognized by the only mind that can give a perfect judgment. And then he's trying to lead him to the mountains, and he starts talking about like reputation and stuff like that. And this really bothered me. My friend, said the spirit, don't you know? Know what? That you and I are already completely forgotten on earth. That was a killer. Because that's something that I try not to do. I don't want to get emotional, but that's something I try not to do. Because we don't know about anything. And I try to make sure that the people that I've lost, I think about, and I want them to know that I remember them. Because I think that's what everybody wants, is to be remembered. So that is what I read. Let's talk about what I plan on reading. Hopefully there's not a lot of murder and emotional things for April. April is my birthday month. So like I said, I'm reading the second Zola. It is called, actually I have it written down, Son Excellence, Eugene Rougon. And his mother, Felicity, I'm sure she wants to think her children are excellent. So that's interesting. I'm going to be reading, and this has to do with one of my projects, I'm going to be reading the third book, The Seekers by John Jakes, and this is in the Kent Chronicle trilogy, and I'm really enjoying this so far. Not very far into it, but his writing is so easy. The characters are interesting. It can be very fast-paced if you stay in it, because there's always something going on. There's always some kind of drama between like father and son, or romantic relationships, and even what's going on in the country. So they're very interesting. Looking forward to that. So I am going to get back and I'm going to finish The Magic Mountain by Thomas Mann. I've been reading this forever. I've had it set down forever. But the thing about this book is that Hans is in the exact same place with Sedabrini, and I really like Sedabrini's, like his attitude and his personality. Hans is okay. He seems a little bit boring, no offense, and he seems a little bit like stuffy. But Sedabrini, I love his character, and so I'm looking forward to getting to hear more of him, more so than Hans. But I'm on page like 406. So I can do it. I can do it, guys. I just gotta stick with it. Okay, so this is another one of my projects, and that is I'm reading Holly by Stephen King. I know you guys are gonna be surprised about this, but I am mad at Stephen King at this moment. Right this minute. I've never been mad at Stephen King before. I'm trying not to take it personally because it is a fictional book. But it's very political. And I agree with his politics when it comes to who he voted for and all that. Like, I'm good. But he has blended, I'm just going to come out and say it. So he has put that if you are a Trump supporter, then you are anti-vax. And that is not true. I don't know if you guys remember when all this was going down, but it was crazy. There's a lot of people who got vaccinated because they were going to lose their job. We were told that, and I hate getting into all this, but we were told that if you're vaccinated, then you're saving people, right? And that you wouldn't, okay, we were told in the very beginning, you wouldn't be able to get it if you're vaccinated or get it again, or it wouldn't be so hard on you if you were vaccinated. Like, they had all these things. And I'm thinking, how they know? This is a new virus. And viruses mutate so quickly. Like, how they know? And the more they pushed it, the more I withdrew from it. And I have never, I am like freedom for everybody. Love, everybody should be cared for, everybody should be taken care of. I've never been a Trump supporter. And it's not because he's Republican, it's because he's who he is as a person. But I have always been liberal in the sense of, and Democrat when it comes to voting, or green. But he has put it in here that, oh, it was like, I was so angry about Holly's mother died from COVID, and it's because she didn't get vaccinated. And we all know that's not true. People who have been vaccinated have died from COVID. So it makes me angry that, oh, if she would have just got vaccinated, she wouldn't have got COVID and she wouldn't have died, or it wouldn't have been so bad. And we know that's not true, Stephen King. So that really upsets me, because it makes it sound like people who made the choice not to be vaccinated, that they hate people, that they are ignorant. Oh, there's Elsie. And the thing is it's not. It's a choice. And I don't buy into what people are telling me all the time when it comes to, like, I'm not big on the news of, you need to do this, you need to do that. I feel like each person and everybody's body reacts differently to different things. Some things can be very dangerous for some people, and some things, like the vaccine can help certain people. But then I don't feel like it's necessary for other people. So I'm sorry if you have different feelings about it, but that's how I feel. And so I was angry at him for presenting people who chose not to be vaccinated with how it just happened so quickly, that they're the bad people. Like, they don't care about other people. And so that really upset me. And that's like all this book has been in the, like, where am I at? 52 pages of it, pretty much, of just, it felt, and it's all about COVID, and it's all about Trump. And I do not want to hear about either one of those things right now. I have fatigue from both of those things. Like, I don't want to hear about them. So yeah, I'm upset. I'm hoping it gets more into a mystery, because that's what Holly is. I've read all of them. I read the Mr. Mercedes trilogy, and then I read The Outsider, which is connected to this too. And also it's interesting that they did mention the lady whose daughter's missing. She said that she was prom queen and she didn't have a bucket of blood dumped on her. So of course that's talking about Carrie. And then she has a Finders and Keepers mug, which is where she worked with Bill Hodgins, who is from the Mr. Mercedes trilogy. So I enjoyed that, but it better get better. It better get better. Stephen King. I want to read this, Silent Spring, Rachel Carson. I've just started it. This is another one that is difficult because I try to do the best that I can, and it seems like once you start researching and you look around your home, which I am in my craft room right now, so sorry about the mess. I make origami cranes and string them up. But it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so wasteful about things. Okay. So this is the book that was chosen for April from the group, the New Futurian, I don't know how to say it, Fellowship. And this was started by, I think, Shawn, do you stand fast? Maybe Mark Richardson. I'm not for sure, but I will link them down below. I think I've already linked Shawn, or I said I have. So this is our April pick. It's Children of Time by Arianne Tchaikovsky, maybe. I'm really looking forward to this. I left a message on Voxer asking about when people would start it because the other book I started way too soon. This one I do own. The other one was a library book, so I wanted to get it back to the library, and we haven't. The discussion, I think, is the 5th, Saturday the 5th, which I will not be able to make the live discussion. Maybe I'll be able to be in the people watching, but I don't think so because something has come up. So we'll see. But I'm really interested in this. I think I've heard somebody mention something about spiders with this book, but I don't know for sure, and I have no idea what it's about. But it's beautiful. Beautiful cover. And this is the first book in a series. That's all I know about it. So I plan to start this maybe the second week because I saw that Deb over at Rainer Reads mentioned I think it was her. I'll have to double check. She's going to start the second week. So I was thinking about starting it the second week. So one more thing. If I get to it, I may be putting down Holly and just picking this up and trying to get through this. And that's The Trap. I started this a while back. I'm halfway through. The Trap by Tabitha King. I was bored with it. And so hopefully I can get back into it and get this. Because, it's a short book. What is it, 300? Yeah, 312 pages. So very short. And I'm halfway through. So it's like, 150 pages to read? So yeah, hopefully I can get that done too. And hopefully that one read will get better. And yeah, I feel like it's just a hard time right now for so many people. And I don't want to make it any more difficult. I feel like we were put here on earth to make life better for people. If there's someone in your life, it's like trying to make things easier. Do that extra little thing. Say that nice compliment. We need that in our lives. And it means way more than people think it does. So, there is one more thing. I have my April list. I started listening to Carmel Bacon Roll Murder, which they are ridiculous. I can't help it if you love them. They are so silly. They will repeat the same thing. They will explain things in a way that a child can listen to them sometimes, where they keep going over and over and over, and they'll say, I don't even know. I'm listening to it. It's the audiobook that I have to listen to while I'm working on things. But most of the time when I'm working on my projects, I am watching YouTube videos or listening to YouTube videos. So, okay guys, happy April Fool's Day. I hope you have a beautiful beginning of April. Let me know what you guys are reading, if you have any projects. It's funny to start projects after the first quarter of the year, but I have 2 interviews this week also, which I'm nervous and excited because it's time for me to get back out there. Anyway, yeah, so let me know how you are. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.